We have this segment of the show where we like to give advice to younger people.
Okay.
Or really anybody. It doesn't have to be.
If you're not younger, stop listening.
So, one of the things, I mean, you mentioned, you know, that you do consulting for video. You know, I have a lot of people that come into this place and they're on camera for the first time, and sometimes not the first time, but they could still use some advice. So give us some advice that you would give to somebody who's going to be in front of the camera for the first time, maybe in front of an audience for the first time. You know?
So there's a couple of best practices that I think overlap, but one of the things that I get asked a lot about either medium, what do I wear? My basic is this: women always look good in jewel tones. So
what's a jewel tone?
It is emerald, it is fuchsia,
Sapphire.
it is bright sapphire, cobalt.
Sure. Bright colors.
Bright colors,
Isn't there
right?
a jewel for every color?
I think so.
Yeah, but you don't want like a topaz or, I mean, listen, if you know your colors and you know what your background is and you know how to do your makeup depending on what you're wearing, then by all means, like, you're more educated than most people. But if you're not sure and you're second guessing what to wear, blue is a universally flattering color for everybody. So blue, solid, women look great in V-necks. They tend to be more flattering, especially when it comes to camera, which can add some weight, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes. Excuse me. Blue is a universally flattering color for both on stage and on camera. I had a stylist say to me one time, if you ever want to go to an event and get lost in the crowd, wear black, because that's what everybody wears. And it's true. Wearing a color on stage for a big event is fabulous. Wearing black on camera, it can look great. It looks great on you right now, but if you don't know the quality of your cameras, black, red, and white are colors to stay away from. Blue is a sure bet. Another question that I get is, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
And that hands down, it's the what do I wear and what do I do with my hands? And here's my question. Or my answer, excuse me. Unless you were like wildly, waving your hands around like Talladega Nights style, if you ever saw that movie, do with your hands whatever you would normally do with your hands. And the reason is, if you talk with your hands and you try and stifle that, it stifles everything else about your speech, it stifles your natural body language, it stifles your ability to communicate authentically. So do with your hands whatever it is that you would do. Watch yourself on camera. If your hands look distracting, make sure that you are using them in ways that emphasize what you're talking about. Other than that, I think you are good to go. And I would say the other thing is to remember energy. It's another big mistake that people make. They tend to think that they are very animated when in fact they look like they have been medicated. And I know that I know this. That's not a criticism necessarily. I know this because it's something I did, right? I remember watching myself in those first few broadcasts and I'm like, wow, I thought it was really like bam, jumping off the screen and I look like I'm tired. Everything on camera is flattened. Everything on a big stage with a large audience that goes back, your gestures, everything are diminished and muted. So energy, gestures are always usually a little bit larger than life in both mediums. There's, every rule is made to be broken, but as a general rule, that's one to follow. And when you practice, don't practice for perfection, just practice to plan. People practice and they stop when they make a mistake. And one of the most important things to do is to keep pushing on, because you practice to learn how to handle those mistakes. So if you're up on stage and your PowerPoint goes down, or you've got a heckler in the crowd, or you lose your train of thought, you need to have the tools to be able to handle those mistakes and keep on moving. So when you practice to plan for that stuff. Don't practice for perfection. Perfection is
unattainable.
Oh, it's unattainable. It's a waste of your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that piece of advice, because I feel like people don't do it often enough. They don't call it, they're like the elephant in the room. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
PowerPoint fell. Whatever. It's done.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, give me a second. I'm going to try to wiggle this or whatever.
Right.
It happens.
And you think in your mind, oh my God, I'm failing. I can't believe this. I wish the hole would open up in the stage and I would fall through. And meanwhile, everybody out in the audience is thinking, wow, she handled that pretty well.
Right.
I wonder if I could have handled it that well. I mean, really, honest to God, that's what they're thinking, unless you're, a complete complete disaster, but let's hope that's not the case.
And I feel like in most cases, they're on your side.
Yeah, they
nobody
are.
is rooting for you to fall on your face. Nobody is rooting for you to fail. They all want, because that would be uncomfortable for them.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
It makes the audience nervous.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so if you just roll with the punches and be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's keep going and see what happens.
Have a little humor about it, a little bit. And really, honestly, I say turn your mistakes into personality showcases. Because a mistake is something, if you handle it well, it can really draw your audience to you. It can endear you to them. And if you can handle it well, then people appreciate that.
Exactly true.